Kogan Creek station being built?
Actually, to go back to the start, it was of no consequences at the start because it was just a mine. We weren't thinking about retirement in a big way, and there was no real hassles at all. And it wasn't until years later that when we sort of felt we wanted to retire and spoke with some agents who all sort of give us that look and said, "You're beside the Kogan Creek powerhouse and mine, and going to be hard to sell that close." And it sort of come a bit of a shock to us because we'd spent a lot of money upgrading this place, a lot of fencing, a lot of troughing. We put pasture down everywhere we can, spent a lot of money to upgrade it so it'd be so easy to sell. And that all happened sort of about the time of the mine coming. So we really got caught really with our pants down, to tell you the truth, and suddenly we've got a place that is now basically unsaleable.
And why is that?
Well, I guess if you go back through the history of mining in particular, anybody that's got a property beside a mine, and particularly the bigger ones to the north of us in the central Queensland, they've all got the same problem in that you can't sell, you've got dust problems, you've got noise problems. And even though this is a smaller mine, and we may not have quite as much noise and dust, even though we do have them, perception being what it is, nobody really wants to come here. And there are a lot of properties on the market at the moment, so guess which one I'd pick, and you'd pick, and anyone else would pick if you had a choice. Is not the one where there's a potential problem, and now they've started to blast, which they said they wouldn't. That's created another problem on its own, in that we've been told there's associated dangers. They're saying from the management that they can't see that there is, but the mining guys assure us that there is. The literature assures us that there's a possible danger to us and our livestock. No one's going to rush in to buy that. And I'm getting closer to 70, and I'd like to retire and buy that fishing line or smell those roses. And I'm sure my wife would like to do similar.
So in what way does it put you out, those sort of dust and...
Well, let's take the blasting for instance. We feel we have to be here when they blast to move our cattle away from the areas closer to the mine. So, we've got a K buffer between our boundary and our house, so we bring our cattle back up to there. So if they decide to blast, we want to be here to bring it up. And the problem, of course, is that a lot of times they'll ring us up and say, "Oh, we're not blasting this weekend now, we've got hiccups, it'll be next weekend." I recently had a function in Rockhampton, and we said we would go to that. Couldn't. Need to be here. So a lot of things like that have really put, well, be honest with you, if anybody else come here, they'd feel the same. And it's common knowledge now amongst the rural people that they are a pain in the butt, basically. So stay away from them.
How do you feel that they've treated you and been understanding of your situation?
The local guys, I find, sit and listen to us. I don't think they really understand. But if you want to go to head office in Brisbane, we're just a mob of natives out here that if we all disappeared, it'd be the best thing ever happened. They don't really want to talk to us. And when we have kidnapped them to have a talk, they've sort of treated us like underlings. And I think we're supposed to be uneducated. And I had said to you earlier that I believe that anybody that's still on the land and still functioning after 10 to 15 years of drought, the world resources problems, they've got something going to be still here. They're not here because they're fools.
In what way are they sort of willing to work with you and other people in your situation?
I think they'd rather still go away, but at this stage we've only got to talking, and they've decided to have a look and see what the dust samples on our house are and get them analysed, and they've offered to do a bit of cleaning and put a bit of filter system in our tank. And because we have a major problem with our drinking water, after 27 years, our water becomes dirty and algae get in it every winter. And of course from here, the mine is on our southwestern side and the powerhouse, and that is the time of year we get algae. Come summer, when the wind turns as it has today, coming from the north, we don't get problems. Storm comes, flushes our tank, we're right. But in winter time we've got this algae, and our tank is in the shade where in winter where it shouldn't get algae. So something is feeding that algae. So we think it's either dust or something from the powerhouse. We're not sure, but we're endeavouring to find out, and how we do that I'm not really sure, because I'm a bit of a sceptic when we ask the government to start analysing things, having been there and done it with water many years ago.
So what sort of way has the Kogan Creek project affected the value of Tangalooma?
Of this property? Well, when we decided to put it on the market to now, if someone was to turn up tomorrow, I guess we'd be down $500,000 to $600,000. Not just all the property, we'd be at least $400,000 down on the property, but our cattle were worth a lot more money at the time that we put the property on, and if we sold them now, I guess being stud cattle, we'd get a third of the price that we would have got 3 to 5 years ago.
Could you explain the situation about the mine itself actually expanding and coming closer to your place?
Well, they say it won't, but we don't really know, do we? Because CS Energy is government owned. The government's talking that they might sell it off to a private corporation. Their MDL comes within 300 metres of our house. Admittedly, that part is on the northern side of the river, but if you go to the Hunter Valley area, you know they've moved rivers down there. They could do the same thing to mine here, and a new group got hold of it. We don't know where we'll be. It's very, very frustrating.
How does that make you feel?
Well, to be honest with you, I know it probably sounds a terrible thing, but Lynn and I now understand why there are so many suicides in this business. Not that we're thinking about it, I'll be quite honest with you, but I do understand why, and I guess we're all human, and sometimes you say to yourself, you know, are we going to be one that they'll find hanging off their conveyor belt over there because we've had a gutful of it all with a note hanging off our chest? I mean, we seriously can understand it. And I know why other people are doing it. I can understand it. You've worked all your life to build up an asset. We want to try and have some of the fruits of our work in our older age. They come along and they take it, and nobody gives a damn. And it is. It's mentally bloody draining. And of course, our other problem we're having now is that with this dust we've suddenly realised it's coming. How's that affecting our health? Are we going to be the cancer victims of 5 years' time? I'm already, doctors got me on bloody Synacort or some damn thing like that for my lungs, and that only happened since they've come, and we're just putting two and two together. This could be part of it. We can't prove it is, and I guess they can't prove it isn't. It's got to have an open mind.
What can you do about the whole situation? About, is there any way of regaining, some of the value or the money that you might have lost, or sort of coming to some kind of conclusion that's benefits for you?
I think if there was more than me involved, more than wife and I involved, it would be a help. We could go in as a group and have some power, but unfortunately they bought everybody else around bar us and another property, and that other property was bought since the mine came here, so I guess they don't have a leg to stand on, but we're sitting here on our own. Other groups that we know of that are in other mine sites and gas fields have formed groups of half a dozen to 20 people. They've got some fighting power, but on our own we are using a community service to help us, but it's like voting. The more people that are in an area, the more the governments listen to you, and the less there is, he's just a whinger, and that's how we feel.
What situation would you be in now were it not for the mine?
We'd be sold, retired, enjoying life. We've already had some people we've got to know since. They've turned up here and looked at the property, looked at our herd, went to the bank, got their money. All they had to do was write a cheque for us, and suddenly they realised how close we were to the mine and the powerhouse, and they bring us up, and I can't blame them. I don't blame them at all. They've just said, look, we want to sell out in probably 10 to 12 years ourselves when we get old enough to retire, and I'll quote his words were that we would have the same trouble as you are about to have.
And just finally, what are the assets of this property? What makes it so saleable, before any of this?
I guess I'm a bit in love with this old farm, but we have had it analysed through Landcare for soil fertility. Out of 212 sites on the Downs, we were in the top 10, not 10%, the top 10 properties. We have 20 meg water licence. We have 2/3 of it is flood country, and we regard that for grazing as an asset. The other third is very high country that's safe, so it's a very safe grazing property. We've got 3-phase power. It's very, very saleable. It's divided into many, many paddocks with water, troughing, improved pasture, and every time that flood comes through, it drops off another 1/4 inch of silt. And we talk about fertile places in the world like the Nile Delta and the Ganges Delta, and this basically is a little tiny one of that, dropping off silt every time that flood comes through. And it just makes things just grow. Cattle do well. We've sold all our bulls this year, and we believe that was partly because they look good in the paddock. And not many Brahman breeders would have sold this year after that Indonesian fiasco.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, Bill, we might leave it there. That's great. Yeah, thanks very much for...
A pleasure to...
Okay, and then the correct spelling of Dahlheimer while I'm here. So.
Dahlheimer.
Okay. And how long have you lived in the Brigalow area?
26 years we've been living here, and it's a beautiful community to live in. Lots of friendly people and lots of community things to be involved in. And we're very close to a terrific little store at Brigalow. And up the road we have tennis and cricket and a recreational grounds, so and a school not far away. Yeah.
And for that 26 years you've been out here at this property?
Yes, we have. Yes.
And how has, and I may as well just get this right now, is it Tangalooma? Is it how it's
Actually, this is Campbell's Camp property, but Tangalooma is the name of the Brahman state.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I may as well get the spelling for that. Campbell's Camp, C-A-M-B...
C-A-M-P...
P...
B-E-L-L-S... Camp.
Yep.
5th town surveyed in Queensland down there.
Sorry?
5th town surveyed in Queensland.
Okay.
That's what the literature says.
Righty-go.
Back in 18...
Was it 59, I think, yeah.
Leichhardt came through here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Town to Cobenco down there.
bit of a historic place, it is.
A lot of history to this property. 12 graves. We don't know where they are, but they're
12.
it's all registered graves.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so it was a proper little town with the pubs and everything there.
Okay. Right, and in the 26 years that you've lived here, Lynn, how has it changed? Just sort of things like you've done a bit of work to the place? And...
Yes, we have. We've done a very lot of work to the place. We've put in new fences. There's a lot of dams have gone in. There wasn't a dam on the place. We've laid a lot of polypipe, and we've put in a lot of good pastures for our cattle. And that's to make it a better property to sell when we wanted to sell, which is what we're trying to do now. And the garden, well, I've expanded the garden, and we've done a little bit to the house, because the house is about 108 years old, so it's a very historic house as well, and I happen to love it very much. And I love this country, and I love our farm. It's a beautiful farm. Very productive, and I think everybody that has come here and visited us, whether they're friends or people we've never met before and they've just come to look at our herd and our stud, can't get over what a beautiful property it is, and just the whole place is beautiful, and I guess that mine over there is destroying all that, because people that do come here and look at our property and are impressed with it, as well as the garden and the house and the setting, look at that over there and straight away it's a put-off, isn't it? And everything that looked beautiful doesn't look so beautiful anymore. And it just it's really destroying our lives in a way, because there's no use saying it isn't, it is.
And how does it feel to sort of, the place that you've become so attached to over the years, just sort of be interfered by a big project like that?
Not very good and very emotional. We've tried to sort of contend with a lot of things, and we've also tried to work with them, and talk to them about things and put our side across. And I guess the part is, I don't really think they understand how we feel about this place or how much it means to us, and all the work and blood, sweat and tears, which is true, that we have put into it over the years. And we don't go on very many holidays, and when the droughts were on, we spent all day feeding cattle and making sure that our cattle were alive. We didn't spend money on ourselves, and putting it into the farm to make it a beautiful place for somebody to come and love like we love it. And they're taking that away. Well, actually, they have taken it away.
So the ideal scenario would have been, a young family or something come to sort of take over?
Exactly, and especially when we have the lovely little Briglow school up the road and the little shop and all the tennis and sporting facilities just up the road a few k's, as well as a very good neighbour that we've got, and neighbours are very good. And our neighbour next door over here, the dairy people, they're very, very good, and it's a lovely area, and there's lots, there's young people on some of the farms with young families, and they would all blend in together.
What would be the ideal situation for you? I mean, like, obviously the mine's up and well and truly established now. Would you like to see some sort of like cooperation so that you can maintain its beauty and everything, and be a productive farm, and also be able to have the mine existing there?
Well, it'd be good if we could do that, but I can't see how that's going to happen, because the problems that we're getting are not going to go away. And like with the blasting, we were told when they first started the mine that there wouldn't be blasting. Then we were told there would be one blast a year. Now we're up to a few a year, and how many more are they going to do? And with all the dust and everything else that's coming here, well, why would people want to buy a problem? And it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, they've intruded on our lives, we didn't intrude on theirs. And they're ruining this place for another family to come and love and produce, absolutely beautiful livestock, or if they want to farm it, they can, but it's really good for livestock.
And how does it affect you by day, the blasting and the dust? Can you just sort of explain that situation? I mean, I know you said it to me before, but just once again so I can record.
Well, when they decide to blast, they do give us some notice, but that can be altered, because if the weather isn't right, or the people who are doing the blasting don't turn up, and you've been delayed, well, then they have to put the blasting off for another weekend. So then we're told that it's been cancelled, so they'll have to put it on another weekend. But in the meantime, if we've got business to attend to, like we have bull sales we have to go to, and heifer sales, which is our business, and that's at Rockhampton and Roma and Toowoomba and Laidley. And if they're blasting and we've got to go away, it makes it very difficult, because we have a caretaker here, and we cannot expect a caretaker to put his life in jeopardy with moving our cattle because of what they're doing. It doesn't affect them, the people in the mine or anything, or the blasting people. They go on and have their nice little, lovely little weekends or whatever they want to do. Yeah. But our weekend is just stopped. And also with the blasting, if there are toxic fumes, which we were told at an induction that it is possible, that if these toxic fumes do happen, it can affect us and our cattle, and it goes to your lungs, and it is not a very nice outcome. So we have to be here, so that sort of puts our whole life on hold and it also puts stress on us, and it doesn't help. I mean, you know, as my husband said, he's getting older. He's had 2 artificial knees. I'm getting older. We've worked hard and gone without a lot of things for this beautiful piece of land, so someone else could love it. And now I don't know whether that's going to be possible. And it does not make me feel very good.
Yeah, sure. And are there other people in this area that are in a similar sort of situation to you? Like, obviously there must be a handful of neighbours that have the same problem.
All the neighbours have been bought out, except for one lot of neighbours on the western side of the river over here. But they've bought the farm since the mine has began, so they really don't have any issues that they can bring up because they've bought that when the mine was here. Whereas we've been here for 26 years and this mine has come and affected our life, you know, and the life of our farm.